So, João Pedro to Newcastle. Is it done? Is it not? It's still all up in the air for me. We don't know yet. The club haven't announced anything yet. Romano is normally pretty solid on these things, but other reporters saying no. It's one of those things again when Newcastle United guys. We just have to wait and see. We may hear more news live on the transfer show, which begins right now. Yes, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Transfer Show, the Monday Night Transfer Show, live on the Toon Review YouTube channel. Good to have you with us tonight, joined by the Owl Muckers, Alex and Billy, of course. And we do have the game on. I've got it on and Billy's got it on, so we'll keep you up to date between Manchester United and Liverpool as it goes on. But we may as well crack on with the immediate news, of course, which is, of course, João Pedro. Nobody bloody knows what's going on here. Now, I would, Alex Romano, we tend to sort of believe, that this guy is, he's got 9 million followers. He's very rarely wrong about stuff. He's reporting it's done. Chris Wolf from The Athletic, he's saying it's almost done. And Luke Edwards says it's not. So you don't know who to believe at the minute, but I mean, out of those three, I mean, yeah, Chris Wolf's a good reporter as well from The Athletic, and of course Romano is very rarely wrong. But we always say along the lines of let's just wait and see what the clubs say. But we'll get you in a second. We've just had a $10 super chat from Alvin Messenger. Says great game yesterday. Felt like we won. Let's keep the momentum going. Excited for what the future will bring. And we have a great commentator also. Billy, your call on Miggy's goal was a classic. Well, yeah. We tend to bring you the best commentary on this channel, of course. Myself for the away games, Billy for the home games, and it is just a marvelous pairing. Billy Bob Coleman, and I haven't a clue what to call myself, but who gives a toss? Alex, come on. I mean, everybody would be waiting to hear what you've got to say on this. João Pedro. What do you think?
I think it's just a difference in sources. I think all the journalists have got different sources potentially. Yeah. They won't all go through the same person or hear the same things. So there were a lot of freelance journalists and smaller journalists that reported it was done 5 minutes before Romano tweeted. So there's obviously a lot of internal sources from somewhere had got all of their heckles up. They were all instantly like, oh, it's happening. And then Romano jumped on it as well. Presumably it might be the same source or similar sources. And then you've got Craig Hope saying close but not yet. They're still trying, which is obviously the Daily Mail. And then the Telegraph also saying no, not yet. So the national newspapers, the guys responsible for those are whether they have different sources or whether they're just waiting for it to be more certain before they commit to that. It's interesting that they, some of the, I mean, this isn't aimed at the Telegraph or the Daily Mail, but some nonsense that certain papers do come out with. It's interesting that they're trying to be careful and protect their reputation and be correct when necessary in this instance, but not in others. But that's a different topic. Personally, I think it's 90%.
You're quite confident, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 90% done.
I've also heard some journalists today saying that Paqueta is second choice is plan B for whoever is plan A. They refuse to comment on who plan A is, but plan B is apparently Paqueta, which I find incredible. But we'll get into that more. But we have got all our socials open, guys. We have got all the information coming in. So if anything happens while we're on air with the transfer show, then of course we will bring it to you straight away. Michael Marsden, thank you very much for your $44.99 super chat again. Amazing generosity, my man. Thank you so much for that. Hi, Paul, Billy, and Alex. Hope you're all well. Yeah, we're doing well today. I have a nice little drive out to Whitby in the car today for some fish and chips with the kids who didn't quite like the car journey, but I'm bored. But me and Susan had a decent time. But hey ho, and off to Edinburgh tomorrow with the little man. So plenty to do. He's keeping me on my toes. We'll go through a few comments. We've got Spacebar. Only believe when he is at St James's Park. Jock says, well, we all start dreading the medical until it's done. I still think we need one more, even if this one's confirmed. V says, yeah, Harrison and Madison's still interested in them, but we'll have to wait and see. Plus, possibly Pulisic on loan. I think Pulisic will move before the window closes, by the way, but where he moves to is a different kettle of fish. Gary, good evening. Hope you're well. V says, difficult to know who to believe with all these links sometimes. Well, don't believe Luke Edwards. That's what I will say. He is a monumental prune. And some of the stuff that he's very, you've got to remember that Luke Edwards is very anti-Newcastle and gets away with a lot of anti-Newcastle reports just because he writes for the Telegraph, which how they still employ that man is beyond me. But Billy, we have to be careful here because, Romano is very much the one that people do believe, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot wrong, does he? Let's be honest. He's got a really good record on getting things right where transfers are concerned. And if he's going out on a whim with saying it's done, then I'm 90% certain it is done. But as we all say, let's be cautious. We don't want to look like arseholes saying it's done when it's not. And that's what happens when you do say things that happened and they don't happen. So transfers can go right last minute. Medicals could be failed. There could be last minute hitches. The player might decide he doesn't want to come. There's lots of things that can happen. But I'm pretty positive on it, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I know, some of the channels are doing shows that saying he's done. And I think it's a bit risky at the minute just because he hasn't been officially confirmed. And until that, we do state on here that we don't like doing anything like that because, like you've just said there, Billy, things can go drastically wrong very, very quickly. Even that small 5-10%, it can go wrong. So, and it's very interesting that there's nothing coming out from the club yet, which if it was done, Alex, then surely if it was done, the club would announce.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably very close, but there are several moving parts to this deal, and one of that is that oh my God, sorry man, I just hit the post, awful.
Yeah, they just open wide.
Open goal.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But one of the most important moving parts that people don't seem to be mentioning, all the journalists, is the Sarr move to Villa that broke down, which is the reason probably why this has gained traction again in the last 24 hours, because Watford will unlikely to sell both, really. They're going to sell Denny, Sarr, and Pedro all in the same window. That's their front three gone. They're going to sell all of them. Probably not. They'll probably try and keep one of them if they can. And Watford fans and the Twitterverse have all said that they value Pedro more because he's a bit more of the future. He's a bit younger. So things could go all right. This is why I'm only going to say 90%. I'm not going to go higher than that yet, because if somebody comes in with an improved bid for Sarr that really suits Watford, they might backtrack, or there are things that could happen last minute. So yeah, I'm 90% confident, but I'm willing to keep that 10% open just in case something funny happens with the medical, or which is unlikely. The medical's a formality, but you never know, especially because there's this Sarr thing going on in the background, and there's add-ons involved in the deal as well. I want to wait before I give that final 10%. That's just my opinion. So,
Keith Deitch, thanks very much for your $10 super chat, matey. He says it would be nice as an American to have Pulisic come play for us. He could definitely use a change, but it's obviously not up to us fans. I mean, we have to wait and see. Trolls, thank you very much for your 50 krona super chat, matey. Very, very kind and a great donator to the channel. So thank you very much for that. Tom, good evening. So João Pedro, talk shite, say it's done. Edwards, Burt say nope. Both gobshites, but who to believe on this one? Well, we don't believe. To be honest, I mean, the people that we do believe, Billy, is Newcastle United.
That's the only people who can believe it, because it's them that's going to release it officially, and until it's official, then it's still not official. So it's not done, is it, until it's official? So Newcastle United are the people to look out for here, and not script writers and journalists.
Yeah. Up the A1 says, hi, all. Hope you had a fab weekend, and what a one it was. Hopefully there is some truth behind recent transfer comments. Tony says, hi, Paul. Is there an alternate way to become a member of your channel and Sinclair's? I don't have join on the iPhone. Tony, if you go across to Instagram, it doesn't matter whether you're logged into Instagram or not. You can go to the Toon Review on Instagram. Click the link for the channel on Instagram, and that will take you straight through to where you need to be. And there will be a join button there. iOS is a bit of a pain in the ass for some reason to get onto to the join button, which is a bit weird. Ian, good evening. Hope you're well. Pilo Keith, still buzzing from yesterday. I've watched the goals 100 times already. And Pedro, on a very good Monday to use. All the best show on here. Thank you. Good evening, Julie J. Hope you're well. Julie J says, I see we have a third Brazilian. Not yet. Let's not get carried away. I mean, I don't understand, I get that, other channels want to jump in and be first to break the news and all of this for some reason that, I don't know why. If he becomes a Newcastle United player, then he becomes a Newcastle player. We can all talk about it then. But, just to go on, a Romano or whoever it is, without the club saying it's confirmed, I think is risky business for channels to do that. I'd rather wait until it's 100% confirmed. Alex has got some stuff already done on João Pedro, so we can bring you a show where we can talk about him and what he'll bring to Newcastle, similar to what we did with Sven Botman. But we won't do that until he's officially announced as a Newcastle United player, because you can look an arse. So I sometimes don't understand that. But hey-ho, everybody to themselves, I guess. Gareth says, this evening all, finally a chance to watch a live show. Spacebar says unconfirmed. Yes, exactly. And it's unconfirmed. So, I'm sorry, but I'm going with the club on this one. Andrew says, sorry I went off there. Louis says, there is one thing missing from Newcastle. Yes, Man United have taken the lead. Incredibly. Who's got the goal? It looks like
Sancho, it looks like.
Yeah, they haven't scored on mine yet, but I'm way behind you guys. So thanks for spoiling it for me, Bill. Yeah, Jadon Sancho, yeah. Nice goal, actually. Kept us cool, and it was a brilliant finish. Liverpool look all over the place as well this season, by the way. I just have to say that. They are all over the shop.
Thiago's injured. Henderson's getting older. Elliott's playing a lot more minutes than he probably should for his age. It's a little... apart from Diaz, it's not going as planned.
You see, you say all that, but Fabinho's on the bench.
Yeah, he is. James Milner and Van Dijk are having wow. Milner's given Van Dijk an absolute roasting. Holy shit! I don't know what happened there. Bloody hell, Milner's gone absolutely ballistic. Geordie Metal, thank you very much for your £20 super chat. Apparently, he says Maddison is the plan A and Paqueta plan B. Interesting. Good evening, James. Jason. Hope you're well. Gary says, I've heard Brazilians are very popular in the Northeast at the moment. Pedro says, well, looks like my namesake is going to sign for us. 6 out of 10. Not yet, he hasn't. Fabrizio Romano saying, deal done for Pedro. Serious links to Paqueta. If both sign, would say 9 out of 10 for the window. Well, yes. Even James Maddison, to be honest. That's poor defending by Van Dijk, I have to say. Just standing there like
watching. Yeah,
with his arms behind his back. I believe you've got the Paqueta link. You can read that out, Alex.
Yeah, so this was first mentioned by Sebastian Dennis or Denny. Well, I don't know where he's from. And he is the chief editor of Foot Mercato. That people keep asking me if they're reliable or not. I mean, I don't know. I guess they can be, but he does stuff for Paris and Lyon. So he's literally tweeted, Newcastle still very hot for Lucas Paqueta. James Maddison is the priority, but Paqueta is the plan B. The Magpies are ready to put between 40 and 50 mil for Lyon. That's poorly translated, but that's his original tweet. So that's where all the information from then on has come from. That was the original source today that everybody has then rehashed. He tends to cover Paris and Lyon. Well, I say Paris, there is technically 2 Paris teams. So I don't know. Make of that what you will. It's a bit ambiguous. Jacques Talbot has then said that we will bid that, which is an interesting change of the word of a verb, going for we're ready to bid and will bid are two different things in my book. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So.
We'll see.
Yeah. Look, to be honest, if Paqueta is plan B, and Maddison is plan A, I don't mind. I don't mind which one of those two we get. I'm a very big fan of James Maddison, as people know. Paqueta, I haven't seen him play a lot. Let's be honest. Not a lot of us have seen him play a lot. But he comes with a hell of a reputation. He comes with amazing statistics. So to be honest, you could see either one and we'd be happy with. Alongside, obviously, João Pedro, if João Pedro is going to be coming into Newcastle. So it's definitely exciting, Billy.
Yeah, 100% it is. There's players coming in. We've been wanting to bolster our attack since January, let's be honest. And it looks like the players are now kind of on the way to coming now. If we get 2 of the 3, I'll be really pleased. If we get all 3, I'll be ecstatic. And if we do that, I think we can push for a top 6 place. No danger.
Yeah.
Me.
It would improve the strength and depth of the team. There's no doubt about that, which I think is something we've all wanted. And I'm sure Eddie Howe's wanted, to be honest. All through pre-season, he will have wanted to strengthen this team. Tony says, hello from sunny Cramlington. Stu says, evening, Jules, Truls, and the rest of them. Hope you're well, matey. Good evening, folks, says Spacebar. Bradley's Big Toe. Hello, lads and lasses. Is Pedro a Geordie yet? Not quite. Stephanie says, I'm in Cramlington also. Tony, well, Anetsford. Yeah, I know Anetsford very well. My grandparents used to live there. Julie J, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. She says, I do get carried away sometimes. Sorry, it's just exciting times at NUFC. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being excited, Julie. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And you know what? We're not putting a downer on it at all because it's a fantastic signing if we get João Pedro in. We're just not, we've always said all through the summer that we would wait till the club have announced it and then we talk about the player. There's nothing wrong with, talking about him as in, what he'll bring to the club and things like that. But, we're not going to confirm any signing on this channel until it's done by the club. That's the way we've always done it on here, and that's the way things will always be. Paul says, evening, everyone in the mods. Great news about Pedro, and now this means full focus on that midfielder. After the Man City game, that was a huge marketing boost for us. We said that, Billy, early on in the show yesterday before Alex joined us, that it could be something, that result could make other players sit up and take notice, that these potential players that could be coming in may well be, ready to go and think, yeah, Newcastle looks a real good club to go to.
Yeah, of course they do. They've seen us go toe-to-toe with the best side potentially in the world and not look out of place. We compete with them for 90 minutes and for long periods of the game, we were better than them. Players with ambitions of winning things will look at Newcastle United and think, and if someone does come into the club and win something here, they're going to be idolised forever, aren't they? They're going to be immortalised. So it's a massive kind of pulse for players that want to win things and want to kind of enhance the CV to come to a club that hasn't won anything for 50 years and win something. And I think the signs are there that there's like the end of the tunnel where silverware is concerned.
Yeah. I mean, these players, Alex, they could be, we're talking legendary status, aren't we, if they win something for Newcastle United?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they're all starting to notice this. But I mean, this is why Botman came. At AC Milan, he would have been one of many. Whereas with us, he's got the potential to be a legendary centre back, playing in front of that crowd, playing against Haaland and stuff. Some of the boxes he's ticked already. That the reasons he wanted to move here, he's already ticked about 3 of those boxes. He's only been here a few weeks. Yeah, they want to come for that kind of thing. Definitely, it's and it's not we're not at the risky start of the project. We seem to be moving into sort of phase 2, if you were. The phase 1 was sort of clear relegation, try and get 5 or 6 better players through the door, improve the spine, improve the dross, which is no longer dross. Most of the dross is now quite good. With Joe Linton's and stuff, it's not dross anymore. They're actually quite tidy. and now we're sort of moving into phase 2 where we don't have to talk about relegation. We don't have to talk about possibly building a project. The project is very much rolling now. The ball is rolling, it's going, and players can see that, especially after Man City.
But I think that's given everybody a lift yesterday. One thing that gets me is the actual chairman was there yesterday to witness that, and that may well have just given him the push to go to his superiors and say, look, let's get some more money in here. Let's get a couple more players through the door, because this club is going places, and we've got a real big chance of really building something here. So I think having him there yesterday was absolutely a massive factor in sort of going for the players. And I believe he's staying over here for a while to oversee. Well, if he's staying here, it will be to oversee transfers, to sign them off. There's no doubt about that. We've got a £6.10 from Chippers. Thank you very much, mate. Paul, get yourself the Wolves on Sunday. Here is the M6 tour paid for. It's more than £6.10 now, Chippers, so apparently it's gone up. But I am doing the commentary on the game, matey, and I'm not going. So why don't you, go yourself? Get out the house for once, and enjoy the world. Karia says we should buy Sander Berge before Liverpool do it. He's so desperate for Sander Berge to come to Newcastle. Obviously, Billy, will you stop doing that? I'm behind you on the game. You're like one of these people watching on the watch along who,
Do you know what? I'll pause it. Tell me where you are.
I'm at 24 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, I'll pause it for 10 seconds and then we should be level.
There you go.
Tell me when you get 24:49 and then we'll start again.
24:49.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, you were like 40 seconds in front of us.
When you get 24:49, start, and I'll go start again.
God, Ericsson takes a good free kick, doesn't he?
Entertaining stuff, this I know, but there we go.
I tell you what, Ericsson doesn't half whip a free kick in. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, we're level now.
There we go. So we're about levelish now, so that's fine. Alex, you just don't give any spoilers. Right. Toon says Robert. Ross says conflicting reports regarding Pedro. Apparently 25 mil plus add-ons and agreed and terms, but read that nothing has been agreed. That's because mainly, Ross, what we do is we wait till the club announce it and say it's been agreed. Now, we know in the past, Alex, that if it has been agreed, it probably won't be announced tonight. The club don't do things that way, do they?
Yeah, like with Dan Burn especially and stuff. We had to wait quite a few days for certain transfers that we were pretty sure. Once they arrive in the vehicle to go into the training ground, it's 99% done, but they still don't announce it straight away. But that fee, I would like to mention that fee, because obviously we've all been a little bit frustrated, me included. I've been slightly frustrated, but I'm still willing to trust the way they're going about the business. If we just think about this logically with the 25 million plus add-ons, if this transfer doesn't work, he is still a young Brazilian attacker who in 2 to 3 years' time, if we want a resale, we can recoup that, if not more. Even if it doesn't work, we could probably sell him for more than that, let's be honest. If he's been a part of this team and done well, but maybe he's just not quite what we want and it's not clicked, this is why it's a good business model, because we can, we need to be careful with our finances. We can't just be buying, we've got a few older players like Dan Burn. We're not going to get the money back for him. We're just going to have to use his value while he's at the club. Likewise with Chris Wood, that's lost money now. We're just going to have to try and suck all the value we can out of their performances. Whereas with a signing like João Pedro, we could get the money back. We could get more money if we don't quite like it and we want to go in a different direction. Similarly to what Man City have just done, they've just shifted Zinchenko and Jesus and got reasonable money for both of them because they've decided to go in a different direction. We want to be able to do that, so it doesn't mess us up financially. We can shift players on, and I mean, fingers crossed it works. I think it will, and we'll see.
Wayne says, obviously Romano's a Watford fan and friends with the owners, so he's putting a lot of on the line by sort of tweeting that out. Paul says, good evening, Paul, Billy and Alex. Good show coming. Still buzzing from yesterday. Great commentary from Billy. Indeed, it was. Rolly says, will any of you be at Prenton Park on Wednesday? Alex is going. So Alex will be there. I'll be doing the... Billy, you're still in front of me. How?
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to point to Alex, but I couldn't do it.
All right. Sorry, I thought you were saying 1-1. No, you must be still level with it. That's fine. Yeah, Alex is going. And what we plan on doing is there will be a watch along, of course. I'll be doing the commentary on the game. And Billy will be joining me at half time. We will then have a little break at full time, and we will be back at 10 p.m. with the review show with me and Billy. And we'll try and get some thoughts from Alex. We've been working on a few things behind the scenes to get some sort of input from Alex. Where
if I've got reasonable internet, I'll try and send some voice notes or something. So,
indeed. So we will bring you the game on Wednesday, but Alex will be there. So he's taking in a game, but we will be live from 7:30 on Wednesday evening with myself doing the commentary, and I say Billy will be joining me at half time. And the review show at 10 o'clock, so it's all go on the Toon Review this week. That's a certainty. Good evening from Belfast. Hope you're all well and looking forward to an excellent show. Evening, guys. According to Football 365, Man United want ASM. That's not going to happen.
Not after that game he's just played.
Yeah,
absolutely.
His value may well have gone up a few pounds if anybody tries to get him now. Pedro deal probably isn't 100% done, but looks very likely. Yes, it does look likely. And I think he'll probably be a Newcastle player by the time we play Tranmere on Wednesday. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Nothing official from us or Watford yet. Fabrizio is rarely wrong. Well, we know that. Craig's Hope Boss says, yes, Craig said not yet. Hello, James. Thank you very much, my friend. We have plenty of squad depth. It's quality we need. Absolutely, 100%. Steph says, I'm still amazed at how we handled City yesterday. We never used to have the ball. Yesterday, we were a threat. Yeah, total change from last season when they just dominated the ball from start to finish. Carl Freeburn, thank you very much for your £6.10 super chat. Hi, evening, lads. How are you all doing? We're doing well, mate. Thank you very much for that. Alex, you sent me something. Do you want me to put that on the screen yet, or?
Yeah, you can try it up first.
Yeah.
It was just something interesting. Again, something interesting from Swiss Ramble. They did a thread on Arsenal spending, about how they just keep pumping 140, 120 million just every transfer window. I think that might be a bit small for viewers, but if you can see us,
zoom in on it, unfortunately.
No, it's fine. Well, it's the net spend on transfers gross spend of transfers over the last 5 years, and we are quite far down that list. We're below Southampton, Wolves, Villa. We are below a lot of clubs, and there's a lot of people complaining. They're saying that our recent form is just down to money. A lot of people saying that we've spent 150 odd million in one window. No, we spent some in January and we're spending some now, as most teams do. Lots of teams have spent a lot of money. So our spend over the last 5 years is in the bottom. Is it in the bottom 5? I think we might be in the bottom 6. So I think we're about 14th in terms of gross spend. So I just thought I'd put that out there. And it's an interesting thread from Swiss Ramble as well. Obviously, we're all a bit frustrated with Everton and other clubs. And it's something nobody's talked about, how Arsenal are just pumping money, and they've been doing it for the last 2 seasons. And I think I mentioned this maybe last month, that I think they're being a bit risky. If they don't get Champions League, they can't keep pumping this much money in without Champions League, because they're putting a lot of money into it. You've seen how careful we're trying to be, because it's risky. If you put in that much, you don't achieve your goals in that season, you end up having to do an Everton. You have to sell players off, and you've got to start the project again. Can you imagine if we mess this up because we've rushed spending and we've got to sell Bruno because we just need the money? That would be heartbreaking. Everybody, a lot of people saying we just need to throw money down. Can you imagine if we had to sell some of these guys that we enjoy watching? Yeah, it's a tricky one. But I thought I'd throw that up because it was just interesting. We're still not high on the spend at all yet compared to a lot of clubs.
Yep. Absolutely. Right, first player on the list tonight is Kone.
It is Cuadio Kone, I think is how we're saying that. So we have been linked with a few defensive midfielders. We mentioned last week with Shelby, will it, won't it happen? Will we get linked with new midfielders? And it's taken a week for the news to kind of filter down in terms of us being linked. But we have, it's happened. So this guy plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga. He's on rather humble wages at 7,000 euros a week. So, you know, we could double, triple, quadruple that, absolutely no problem, and it would be nowhere near our top earners. So reasonable price. 21 years old, so very, very young for a defensive midfielder. But he's a reasonable physicality, you know, 160 pounds. What's that in our money? That's like 11 and a bit stone.
Round about that,
5'11". So he's fine. For 21, he's absolutely fine. So if we scroll down, we can see very good for precious tackles and interceptions. In fact, very, very competent for interceptions. So for a young age, again, that shows he's got positional and awareness. He's in the right place. For clarity, he plays in a double pivot. So he doesn't sit as the sole DM, like kind of we would have Shelby or Bruno or somebody just sitting in that 6. The way they play at the moment is they typically have 2 in midfield. So it will be part of a pivot. But even so, this is very, very impressive. And one of the freaky things about this guy is he's a bit of a ridiculous dribbler of the ball for a defensive midfielder. He is very much a defensive midfielder, but he's in the 97th percentile for dribbles completed, and he's also getting over 5 progressive carries, and he progresses the ball very well via passing. Very, very careful with his passes at 88%. So this is what we need, this kind of quality. But ball progression, this is what we need. This for a 21-year-old to be producing this is also quite absurd. 20 pressures per 90 is very, very clean and tidy. And if we scroll down, we can see that last season was kind of his breakout in the Bundesliga where he got, I'll say breakout, he moved. 2,100 minutes, 26 starts, not too shy, a couple of goals from defensive midfield. You know, his job a lot of the time was to try and release the ball. He wasn't involved as much in shooting. He came from Toulouse originally, and they went down, but he played a year in Ligue 2, 24 starts. So let's go and show you what he actually plays like. So if we have a look at, so this was the back end of last season when he was well and truly up and running. This was my favorite game. So I've gone back and watched this. I didn't watch it at the time, but I've gone back and watched it since. And I'm very, very impressed with this. So they beat Leipzig 3-1. They went with wing backs to try and you know, because Leipzig is a very strong, dominant team in the Bundesliga. So he played in the middle on his own, and he got, well, our heat map is also filthy. I will scroll in so people can actually see this as well. So he got, against Leipzig, right, 50 out of 53 passes. So barely put a foot wrong at all. 80 touches. And then if we keep going, 6 dribbles. Like, that's what Maxi gets. Like, that's better than what Maxi gets. And this guy's a defensive midfielder, so that is pretty strange. 13 ground duels as well. 21 attempted. So he was constantly at war.
Oh. Have we just lost Stato there?
I think we may have done. He's back.
He's back.
This mic's gone now, though.
Yeah. He is having a few problems with his mic. We do know that, but he'll be with us in a second. There, he's back. Go on, Alex.
Right.
Yeah.
Back. There we go. I'm fully back. Sorry about that. So he was at absolute war in that game. Committed 5 fouls, was fouled 3 times. 4 tackles, 2 interceptions. An absolute tank. And just for reference, Leipzig's midfield had Konrad Lehmer in it, the guy who was a pressing monster that Man United wanted. He got a very dismal 5.8 because Kone absolutely destroyed him in that midfield. So for 21, this kid's quite an interesting talent. He's still quite raw, but yeah, very, very,
it
very
seems to me, though, Alex, that's the kind of players that we are looking at now. We are looking at these talents, these raw talents to come through and progress with our club. Not so much for a sell-on, but more so to win things and to grow as a player at the club. Gone are the days when Newcastle United now are signing to sell on. And I really like his dribbling stats, but I think Billy's one of those players that, we could get in. And he's one of those that'll, get the ball and dribble his way out of trouble, which will put hearts in mouths.
Yeah, I think if he gets caught with it once or twice early doors, it could ruin him, couldn't it? Let's be honest. I'm not a big fan of dribbly defensive midfielders who sit in front of the back four, if I'm perfectly frank. But if he's got the confidence to do it and he gets away with it,
I mean, let's have a look at. Let's dig slightly more then before we. So what is his passes under pressure like? Very, very impressive. So if we can zoom in a little bit, so he's in the 91st percentile for passes under pressure. So he's pretty competent at clearing it when he's being pressed. That is a very key stat for in that kind of position. We need that to be somewhat competent, and it looks like it is very high. So yeah, along with being able to progress it, it's not always sideways. There's lots of progressive passes in there, and he can carry the ball if he needs to as well. Very right-footed. Oh God, yeah, he attempts 3.5 passes per 90 with his left foot, and then 45 with his right foot. Interesting.
Very much.
Show his
a right-footed player.
He is indeed. I want to show you his transfer marked, just for valuation generally. And he's contracted until 2025 with an option for a further year, which is interesting. I don't know if has he got any caps? He does have 3 caps for under 21s. So he's not locked into a nation yet. So we don't want him to choose Ivory Coast because then he keeps disappearing to AFCON. So if he gets called up, we want him to choose France if we go for him. And something to bear in mind: his player agent is Classico, which we're gonna have a look at them. They're not massive. They generally represent a lot of French clients, or mixed ethnicity with dual citizenship. Mostly play in the French league, but they have overseen people moving to the Premier League. There's a few, notably Diallo at Southampton. You've also got Brentford. You've got one of the keepers. And if we scroll down, we've also got like a Cardiff and a Huddersfield, I think, somewhere. So they've overseen a few Premier League moves, slightly lower profile, but they generally represent French clubs, French players. And there's been a few moves to Premier League teams. Highest market value is not crazy. Kone is arguably one of their most expensive assets, if not the most expensive asset at the club at 21 years old, with this Diop left winger being the other one. So it's an interesting one. It is a very, very interesting connection. So we shall see. I kind of agree with Billy. I'm not so sure a dribbly defensive 21-year-old to sit and do what Shelvey's done. I mean, you saw how slowly he integrated Bruno into the same role, even though, despite his talent, because you've got to be so switched on playing in that sort of position, because you are literally the linchpin of the entire team. You are if we talk about spine, you're the main part of that spine. You've got to be switched on. It's a hard role to play, and you don't want to destroy people's confidence. But incredible talent. And if you mentioned sell on value, this is a sort of player that if we want to go a different direction, we could probably get the money back for him, which is the way we want to go forward in transfers. We want to be able to do good business and get our money back if we want it.
Absolutely. Ooh, nearly a handball on the line. I think you'd get away with that, Billy. I think it was just under his armpit. Very close.
What's Bruno Fernandes doing? What's Bruno Fernandes doing there?
Well, because he's shit.
He's trying to score an own goal.
Yeah, he is, which is outrageous. Daniel Craig, thank you very much for your $44.99 super chat, my man. That is very kind. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And another $44.99 from Michael Marsden. Thank you very much again, Michael. Your generosity is just through the roof, man. And it's just a pleasure to have around this channel, matey. Not just for the donations, but Michael does a lot behind the scenes that people don't see. So thank you very much again, Michael. And he never, ever wants bigging up because he punches me when I see him. So I'll not big him up too much. Rob C says the worrying thing is apparently a few injuries were picked up yesterday. Wilson, Burnt, and Fraser in the warm-up. I don't know what to say about Ryan Fraser, guys. I think maybe just the niggly injuries that we're picking up is also something that has kick-started the club into gear to get some reinforcements in. But Billy, what do you reckon? I mean, Alex, you can sort your mic out because it's telling me you've gone off again. So
that should be fine.
Oh no, you're back. You're fine. You're fine. Billy, it's one of them, isn't it? You know, we need that depth now.
Yeah, and if I'm being perfectly honest, Ron Fraser hasn't looked fit for a while. He's been outpaced by Jack Colback, who'd been on the pitch for 80 minutes in the first game of the season. Not fit to play against Brighton, and again getting injured in the warm-up yesterday. So something ain't quite right with Ron Fraser.
Yeah.
Wilson, I think if he'd had any kind of damage to him in the warm-up, he wouldn't have played. Absolutely no way on God's earth. He would have started him with a niggle. No way on God's earth. Anybody else, perhaps, not Callum Wilson. Yeah, and it's kind of reinforcing the fact that we do need to kind of help in the recruitment kind of area because we can't play with the people we've got on the bench at the moment. I mean, you looked at the benches yesterday. They had an international class bench and we had a championship level bench. Let's be perfectly frank about it.
Yeah. I mean, the rumours were, well, it's not even rumours. I think it was official that Wilson felt his hamstring and mentioned it at half time that his hamstring was a bit tight.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. He just mentioned to the coaching staff that it was tight. So that's why I think the Chris Wood change was made a lot earlier than we all sort of expected it to be made. More precautionary. You know, he walked off absolutely fine. So fingers crossed. I mean, this is what we want. This is what we mentioned earlier about managing.
Anyway, he's not going to feature at Tranmere, is he? There's no way. You know, Chris Wood's probably going to get the full 90. Good. Okay, we'll see how he does. Tom says, Tranmere preview tomorrow. No, we're not doing a preview. We're still doing the fan forum. So me and Billy will be doing the fan forum. And of course, you know, we will be obviously building up to the game. But we'll be talking about it amongst the forum guys. So it'll still be a kind of build up to the game as well. But you know, we expect a lot of changes, etc. Certainly for Tranmere. But I expect still a strong team to be put out because obviously, you know, Eddie has said he wants to give the cup competitions a real go, which is exactly what we'll be doing. David says, first news he signs will be the team sheet for the Tranmere match. Yeah, can you imagine that? They announced nothing and then suddenly, bang, he's in the team. That would just be bizarre, but I don't think they can do it that way. I think it has to be officially announced. I think there's rules on that. That they can't just sort of bring him in all on the hush hush and then suddenly he's in the team. Crazy. Plan A is Madison according to Baz. Who knows?
I don't know. It's not. It's according to the journalist I quoted at the start of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
But Leicester apparently up for sale. So if the current owners want to cash in on a few players, could be a good time to get hold of James Madison, couldn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Leicester are for sale either, though, Billy. That's the thing.
It's from Sebastian Dennis. Came out with that first.
Sebastian Dennis, exactly.
Foot Mercato.
Yeah. Somebody's scrolling through the news feeds and just picking it up and claiming it's theirs. But there you go. Chris Murray says, I'm waiting for our statement signing, and I hope it's Paqueta as much as Madison would be an excellent signing right now. But what Pac could do for us over the next 3 years would dwarf what Mads would. Possibly. You know what, though? I've said a million times that I would take either one of them. And I'd be very, very happy with either one of them, to be honest. So yeah. Jan says, yes, he did 1-1. It's not 1-1. It's half time. It's 1-0 to Manchester United. Could we see Billy goal highlights?
That'd be Susan, a good video of your reactions to goals like knitted together. Yeah. That would be cool.
Yeah, we can certainly do a YouTube short. I think Susan could trim it down. If you can do Billy's celebrations, Susan, we could maybe put that on a YouTube short. So I'm sure she's working on it already. Now she's in that comment, to be honest.
That's the kind of thing we could do in an end of season thing, though. We could get yours and Billy's and then stitch together like the best goal celebration moments of the season and stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be very cool.
We'd keep them all back, and then of course, you know, I mean, by all accounts, Billy, you were nearly stripping off yesterday during goals. I mean, you know, the one thing is that when me and Billy do, well, if me and Billy had a swear box for when we do the watch-alongs, I think, you know, we'd certainly get a lot of money together for charity.
Yes, exactly with that referee. With that referee yesterday,
yeah, absolute idiot. Paul, I hope you can match Billy's super commentary, mind. He's been on fire lately. Listen, we have our own styles, and that's what it's all about. It's not like who's better than each other. We're both very good at it. We both very much enjoy it, and that's why we split it home and away games, which is perfect. And then obviously we get Billy on at half time. So I hope when Billy comes on at half time at Wednesday that there's no rage issues, because we're comfortably ahead by half time against Tranmere. That's how I see the game going, and that's how I want the game to go, because I certainly don't want us to be behind. ASM loves the Newcastle, the club and fans can't see him going anywhere, to be honest. Paul House, George T, did he feel well enough to go? No, he didn't, Julie, but he was in the chat yesterday. I saw him in the chat, so hopefully he's feeling a bit better now, and he'll be at the next home game. So big shout out to George, and hope he's pulling through. Awful having COVID. King Arthur says, I went to Man City game just not wanting to lose by more than 2-1 down at the start. I then saw our club fight back full of belief. They were not afraid. They were brilliant. Yeah, and we've said that. It's it's fantastic. As much as the waiting game on signings is, I love the way we are doing business and not buying for the sake of buying. Eddie knows what he wants and is building solidly. Money is the root of all evil, but why would anyone want to leave the Toon? Well, yeah, I mean, look, they'd be crazy to want to leave. And I don't believe for 1 second that even if Man United did come in for ASM, I don't think ASM would go to Manchester United, because they're simply not at the same... this is going to sound incredible to say, but they are not at the same level that Newcastle are at the moment. And I know it's very early on in the season and they're winning at half-time, but judging by that last 20 minutes of that first half, Liverpool were dominating that game. And somehow Man United haven't conceded. So that
I think Man United will be very lucky to finish ahead of us this season. Very fortunate.
As well. Yeah. Tampa Toon, thank you for your $10 super chat. Just starting the show. Great job to Billy on the game calling yesterday. He's getting a lot of praise for that. Right, next we have Edison Alvarez. Sorry, Edson. It doesn't have an I.
Alvarez, yeah. So we won't go into too much detail with this guy, because I don't think there's much in this. Ajax have lost a lot of players this summer, so he is from Ajax. They lost Gravenberg to Bayern Munich. They've already lost a DM. That supposedly, possibly even losing Anthony as well.
They could replace him, Alex, with that guy at Mainz. Billy, what's his name again? No, not Mainz. 1860 Munich. It was
Lachenmacher, the striker. He was a striker.
Like yeah.
No, but I don't think this guy's going anywhere. I think there was a report from Ajax that they said that they were valuing him. They basically said, we want 50 million for him because we think that's how much he's going to be worth after his display in the World Cup, which has not yet happened. So they're evaluating him based on the future. Like literally this has happened. They said, we think he's going to be great in the World Cup. So we're going to value him at what we think his January price is going to be, which is 50. Okay, then. Bit bizarre. But Ajax have already lost enough players. But let's talk about him anyway. I think this is very unlikely, but we might as well talk about him because his name's been linked. So defensive midfielder, a little bit different to the previous guy, Kone, because this guy's 24, nearly 25. So he's a lot more, sort of 3 or 4 years, a bit more polished. At 6 foot, so he's a bit bigger. Well, nearly 6'1". And he is a bit of a passing monster as well. So doesn't do the dribblies. In fact, dribbles completed is in the bottom 1 percentile. So he's very much a passing merchant. Doesn't do any of this dribbly stuff. So 98th percentile for pass completion with over 92% pass completion rate is pretty bonkers. 60-ish passes attempted. Mm-hmm. That's what we want. We want the people that can do this to sit in the 6 and be dominant and pass the ball in a very effective way. Defensively as well, not got the interceptions that Kone had, but a lot of tackles, good pressures again, around 20 pressures. Also, that 6 foot making, or 6'1", making more of a difference in things like his blocks, clearances, and aerials won. So he's getting stuck in sort of the more physical bits. Statistical matches, you've got Boubacar Kamara here from Villa, you've got Ndidi from Leicester. So you've got highly rated, good quality DMs sort of in his matches. And if you scroll down, 2 full seasons in the first team. 3 full seasons in the first team, really. First. and he played the most minutes he's ever done for Ajax last season at 2,300 minutes, 28 starts, got 5 goals and 1 assist from defensive midfield. So competent. He can tackle, he can pressure, he adds a bit more physicality in the air as well. Not as great at the interceptions, but that's fine. Everything is done through passing. Even progressive passes isn't that high. So this guy's he's not a line breaker. He's not a ball progressor. He's just going to keep things ticking along and be very safe. So he's not going to do lots of. Whereas Kone is the complete opposite. Kone as a DM, he'll win the ball, but then when he wins the ball, he's like, right, where's the goal? Quick, where are the runners? Go that way. He's just off. Whereas Alvarez is completely the opposite. He'll try and get the ball, calm it down, pass it, and just control the game. So very, very different. Same role, but very, very different players. But I just don't think there's anything in this one because Ajax have sold so many players. They've lost their manager. They've lost a few players. They've got no reason to sell. They've just got absolutely no reason to sell.
Look, a couple of years' time, they'll be ready to sell some more players because we know what Ajax is like. We know what their academy is like. They keep on just rolling out the players season after season. If anybody wants to sort of, build an academy and build a foundation, then look at the way Ajax do it. It is just year after year, just churning out these fantastic players. But
this has been 50 years in the making.
Of course it has, but it's the way that the
machine.
Yeah, it's the way they look after the players. It's the kids, the youngsters that are in the academy.
Have a hatchery. They literally have a hatchery. They hatch
them out of eggs, Alex. There is no doubt about it. You are right. Diane, good to hear from you. Good evening. Brilliant match. Thanks, Paul, for the ticket. I had a great time. Well, we've also got tickets to give away for the Crystal Palace game and the Bournemouth game. Stato will be at the Palace game, of course. He is coming, and I do have another ticket to give away. And I've got also an adult and a junior ticket, which cannot be changed. I must stress that. When we do give away the Bournemouth tickets, it is an adult and junior sitting next to each other. It is in the family section, so it is high up, but they cannot be changed, okay? So you cannot change the junior to an adult and have 2 adults sitting there. So it will be basically whoever wins the ticket taking their son, daughter, nephew, niece, whatever it may be. It has to be sticking at the junior level. So there you go. But that's obviously... for the future, we do have tickets to give away. We've also got another shirt to give away. The blue away strip. And this is, it's another 5XL. So, but we know how the fittings are. So there you go. And another one to give away. And we've possibly got another one. Let's have a look in... Yes, we have what everybody's trying to get a hold of. The 4th kit.
Is that the training kit? Oh,
yeah.
What size is it?
3XL. 3XL. So there you go. We'll give that. I'm sure we might. Well, we might give it one away on the fan forum tomorrow night, but we'll wait and see. So you might have to stay tuned. But we'll announce that on the socials if we are giving away anything tomorrow night. Dan says, I'd love to hear who Alex thinks the starting 11 will be on Wednesday. It's anyone's guess, surely.
Yeah, I might give you 10 minutes tomorrow and maybe I might do a graphic for it or something. I don't know. We'll talk about that later, but yeah, it'll be out there. We'll make sure you guys kind of know what we think. I'll have to sit down and have a proper think about it. And I've only just started looking at Tranmere as well. So yeah, these things take time. We've got transfers and the City game. So much going on at the moment. It's very busy.
Lots going on. Oh, I've lost my mouse. Where's my mouse gone? Oh, it's gone under me bloody MacBook. What did I do that for? Anyway, V says, what a game to get that ticket for, Diane. An absolute belter. Simon says, Paqueta this season and Maddison next summer when he has only 12 months contract left. Leicester will cash in on him before then. If the rumours are to be true, what's going on at Leicester, they will cash in. I've no doubt. Jim says Billy was great yesterday. Brilliant watch along. Gallagher says, can you and Billy do your best South American commentator impressions next time, please? I think people
No.
want us to do the goal. Well, sometimes I actually do that. I mean, I haven't done the commentary since I think it was Benfica, wasn't it? Pre-season, the last commentary I got to do because I was, of course, due to do the Brighton one, but that wasn't to be.
It's so good.
Sorry?
I love South American commentary and Spanish commentary. It's brilliant.
Yeah, crazy. Ian says, I'll tell you what, everyone, it's boiling here in Tenerife. Well, go and stick your head up your arse, Ian.
Wonder if he's selling spoons on the beach.
He will be. You get them guys selling like the
boy.
Yeah, the lucky men that walk across the sands selling all sorts of stuff. He'll be doing that with his bloody spoons. Bob says, if we get João Pedro, surely that means Lucas Paqueta won't come. How many Brazilians can we have? I'd love it, but just think it won't happen. Well, the thing is with João Pedro is he can get British nationality, I think, next year. So, he might not actually be Brazilian. He might be classed as, by the time I'm sure I've read that he becomes a British citizen next year. So
he's been in England since 2019. So.
Yes, we can. Yeah. So there you go. So he
arrived before he was 18. So
yeah. So maybe. Technically, he could be an England international. How's Wilson? Is he injured? No, he's not. He felt a twinge or just a tight hamstring. Look, tight hamstrings happen all the time. I know it's Callum Wilson we're talking about here, but it does. People have tight hamstrings after games of football. It's just one of them things. And now that we know, I mean, I was very confused at why he took him off so early, but obviously now he's explained, that he felt a tight hamstring. He wasn't going to risk him. And Chris Wood came on and did a very good defensive job for us. Alvarez is a good player. I've seen him play internationally a bunch, says Dan. Talk Sports say we have signed João Pedro. Yeah, but listen, Talk Sports say that the Pope is English. He's not. So there you go. Don't believe Talk Sport. The only people to believe, right, I'll say it again. The only people to believe for a transfer, guys, is Newcastle United Football Club, right? There is a lot of people out there who will speculate. There's a lot of people out there who probably do know. I've got a lot of time for Fabrizio Romano. He knows a lot, right? He's got good contacts, and I don't have any reason to doubt him at all, which is why, Alex explained before, we're 90% sure that, that this will happen. But there's just that small 10%. And the bottom line is we wait for the club to announce it. If the club says he's coming in for a medical or anything like that, then we will talk about it. But until then, we will stick to our guns on this channel and say that we won't talk fully about a player signing until the club have done it. And then we'll bring you the information on the player that, Alex has planned. Stephen says, Toon on Red Alert, agents contact DRB now wants to leave. 50 million up front on the table for Madison. Plan A for rejected. 42 million offer going in for Paqueta. Stephen, you've been reading the same stuff that other people have. Villa Watch is the best Twitter site today. Complete meltdown. Yeah, they are. They are having it is quite humorous, actually. Was going to ask how Danielle was doing. She's good. She's just, keeping busy at work and things like that. And, every day, every day is a new day, of course. And she will pull through everybody. She's, it's been a hell of a shock for her losing her cousin like that. But listen, she's a strong cookie. And she'll be back when she's ready. I've just told her to just take as much time as she needs, obviously. John says, Man United panic buying £200 million on a 30-year-old and overpriced winger. Crazy. I prefer our buying model any day. I'd just like to say congratulations on the Man United fans who took part in that ridiculous protest earlier on about the Glazers. And then, halfway through the protest, they then saw, who was it that they signed? Casemiro, yeah. Sorry, my mind went blank there. They saw Casemiro suddenly getting out of car, coming into the ground, and just abandoned the protest and went to all just jump around Casemiro. Absolute quality. It's weird, really. 60 million quid on a player that but the Glazers don't spend any money. Honestly, the entitlement of some of them fans is just bizarre. It really is.
Even better. They're going to walk out, weren't they? But of course, taking the lead, but all that's
I don't see anybody walking out.
No. Now they're leading. They're all up there, kind of. Yeah, we're Man United. We're going to win this. We're going to win that.
Yeah,
arseholes.
Fickle.
Entitled arseholes.
Fickle. That's what they are. They don't
their
know.
Fans, they had that. I'm pretty sure didn't there was like a mob that broke into the stadium and were climbing all over the stuff and climbing all over the pitch.
Oh, fuck off.
And the kickoff got delayed. And then last week they were threatening to like go in the shop and trash it up, and they said you've got to close the shop.
That's just ridiculous. That's not supporting your football club. I'm sorry, but that's not even a protest. We didn't do things like that. But Man United haven't known what it's like to be really just totally and utterly shambolically left in the lurch like Mike Ashley did with us. So the entitlement is just mental. They have to accept that they're not the club they were. Simple as that. They may be again, but they're not at the minute. It's not what you spend, but how you spend. And so far, apart from Chris Wood, in my honest opinion, they've spent well. Absolutely. I'd 100% agree with you. I think Botman's going to be a superb player. I think Nick Pope is already, he's already basically shown us exactly what he can do. He's an incredible footballer. But listen, this needs to stop. As you know, we do merchandise, guys. We've got lots on the website, lots more coming. And this is the place that you can go and find it all right now.
So let's get down to business. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I'm gonna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it. Let's get down to business.
So there you go, guys. The little tune of Let's Get Down to Business. Hopefully that's what the owner's doing behind the scenes right now. But if you want any Toon Review merch, the toonreview.co.uk is your place to go and get some mugs, key rings, and lots of stuff coming very soon. Geordie Howayman says, as much as I want a cup run, I think it will be a second or even third string team on Wednesday. Eddie will be protecting a lot of players. I don't agree with you, matey. I think, yes, there'll be a lot of changes, but Eddie has already said, Billy, that he's taking the cups. He wants to take this club a lot further in the cups than we got last season.
Yeah, but I think we'll see all the bench that were on the bench yesterday. I think we'll see one or two others that haven't played as much as Shearing. I don't think we'll see the likes of Wilson, Bruno, them kind of players playing. But it'll be a strong enough side, they'll think, to beat Tranmere. And it should be really any kind of level of squad we put out against Tranmere should be good enough to beat them.
Yeah. Susan's just texted to say the next order is going in on the 27th. So you've got till the 27th to order your merch. Obviously, she's on vacation at the minute. So she's that's when the next one is going in. Angie said, would love that away strip. Any new signing done? Not yet, Angie, unfortunately. What size chest is a 5XL? Well, in Castoria, then you just never... Ratchet says 5XL sounds good to me. Please mark me in for the giveaway. You have to be here to do it, and you have to be a member. The shirt is always a member draw, guys, so you have to be a member. Ratchet, I can send it to Mumbai. That's not a problem, but you do have to be a member of the Toon Review. Julie says, can I pretend to be a small child for the Bournemouth game tickets? I'm saying nothing because I'll get wrong if I comment on that. Paul says, fourth is still a nice shirt, but hope they never, ever wear it again for a match. Absolutely. Foxy says, Leverkusen in turmoil at the moment. Out the cup, lost the first 3 Bundesliga games, so they might cash in on Diaby to improve the squad.
Stole my line. That was my line. But yes, well done. He is correct. Leverkusen are absolutely appalling at the moment. So they might, you never know, they might actually U-turn on possibly a transfer.
Wacky said Eddie should start Anderson, test him against Tranmere, and maybe give Stevenson a part to play as well. I think Anderson might play, actually.
Yeah, I think Longstaff and Anderson will definitely be part of that midfield.
Yeah.
Which will be good. I saw the Gareth Southgate was at the match. Who do you reckon he came to see?
Foden, probably.
Foden and Pope. Well, Nick Pope as well, I think, to be honest. I think
Stones,
Nick Pope
maybe
would probably
Wilson.
be... Callum did nothing to...
Yeah, that finish was silky.
It was absolutely superb.
He defies statistics. He does nothing else on the pitch except just disgusting at finishing.
Mick says, yes, Paul, you're correct on Pedro becoming homegrown. That's why I love this show. Your guys' knowledge is off the chart. Cheers, Bob. Thank you very much for that. David said, did Billy used to get a tight hamstring?
Oh, very regularly. Got one now, in fact.
Thanks, mate. Simon says the Pope is English, Paul. Nick Pope, absolutely. I'm getting so many people saying that in the comments. What does Alex know about Rennes striker Guatan Laborde?
I can't remember. I think we looked at him, didn't we, a couple of months ago?
I know he's got a FIFA Team of the Season card.
I don't think we were linked with him, were we? But I think we looked at him because we were linked with other players in the same team. I can't remember. I'd have to go and have I'm not going to lie and pretend I can remember everything that he does. I'd have to go and double check it.
Absolutely. Susan also says that the Not in the Know t-shirts are coming out soon. We will hopefully, we will be wearing them. We've been told that they're coming this week in time for deadline day. We will be wearing them on deadline day, and then obviously they'll be going on the website after that for general purchase if you're interested in getting a Not in the Know t-shirt, which is quite hilarious. The big right hand says, I have a tight hamstring running down the stairs to collect my triple cheeseburger. Wow. Simon says, Pedro having a medical now.
The solution to that is get a bungalow.
Absolutely, yes. Pedro having a medical now. They've given him an ice pack for his ankle pain. Lol.
Well, and his calf. It moved.
Yeah.
The injury moved.
It did. It was crazy, that, wasn't it? Suddenly just moving the injury. Francisco says, I know the consensus is that TalkSport is shite, but Simon and co were very, very complimentary of Newcastle and Eddie's way of doing things today. Just wait till
they couldn't fail not to be fair. I mean, if they started criticising us today, it's hardly the right day to do that.
A joke. Spacebar says 1.3 billion spent on transfers in a decade, and they have the cheek to protest. Well, it's entitlement. Simple as that.
They're in the Europa League.
Yeah. Les, good evening. Hope you're well. Julie says, you know what knocks me about this Man U protest? They are the same morons who said we should settle with what we've got with Mike Ashley, but it's different for them. Yeah. Why doesn't Rio Ferdinand put his money in his pocket? Yeah. 2-0 Manchester United. That looks like Marcus Rashford.
I literally called this with my family yesterday. They've got a couple of Man United supporters in the family, and I said, I bet you'll go and beat Liverpool. And then every Man United fan will be like, oh, we've turned a corner. It's starting to click. And then 2 minutes down the line, it will all go tits up again, and we'll be in. It will be the same thing.
It was very, very good finish from Rashford, I have to say.
Is he offside though? That's the question.
Well, let's just take a look.
Yeah, he's off. He's off there. He's off there. He's off.
Oh, he is. He's offside. That won't count.
He should never been offside there.
He shouldn't. The pace he's got, that's poor from Rashford, actually. He's way offside. Yep. No doubt about it. Oh, never mind. What a shame.
That wasn't flagged, presumably, but the amount of times that bloody linesman for our game had that flag up, I wanted to take it off him.
They've given it offside. They've given it onside. That's bollocks.
That's not onside.
They've given it onside. That is pathetic.
That's a joke. That is an absolute joke. VAR, man. Honestly.
His foot was over the line. His foot was over the green line.
But they've said that the Liverpool defender's elbow was in line with his foot.
He can't play the ball with his elbow, though. That's bollocks.
Oh, my God. That's awful. But never mind. John says, I think Eddie on Tyneside Live needs to get a box to stand on next time he chats to you after the match. Yeah, bless him. He's a lot smaller than me. But listen, love Eddie to bits. He's a great guy. And hopefully we're going to do a lot more with Eddie in the future, which will be nice. Francisco says, well, let's just enjoy how pitiful all the two-faced hypocrites in the press are acting now. Tom says, with Wolves at the weekend, Tranmere will almost certainly be a completely different starting 11. Yeah, it will be. No doubt about it. Talking to fickle fans, Arsenal fans now in love with Arteta. They wanted him out after we beat them. They did. Listen, it's football, isn't it? I was about to say we'd probably be the same under Steve Bruce, but there's no way that would have happened. Have you seen the Paqueta has looked at Instagram story of Newcastle saying he's coming to Newcastle? No.
He commented on Bruno. Bruno did an English interview after the City game, and Paqueta commented on it in Portuguese, saying, "I didn't understand anything, but you spoke very well, buddy."
Yes. Ratchet says, I'm too lazy to open my laptop. I am your 199th subscriber. Bloody hell. I mean, I know Ratchet's been a subscriber for a long, long, long time. I'm driving from work most of the time when I'm listening to you. Please. Oh, bless him.
Subscriber's not a member, though, is it?
So talk about bias. Match of the day, the official match of the day, have just tweeted, Old Trafford is bouncing.
Oh, God.
Oh, great save.
Absolutely disgraceful. We were 3-1 up against City, and we didn't get any of that sort of attention on social media. Just complete and utter bias. Disgraceful.
Yeah. William's still a few seconds behind you, mate. Like about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Pause it for 5, and then away you go again. Ken Fairley, thank you for your £2 super sticker, buddy. Geordie says, Nick is the only Pope I'd let my son get a picture with. Jesus Christ. Stu says Phil Foden is class. He could go on to be one of the best ever midfielders. Yes, I 100% agree with that. He looked absolutely superb yesterday. And, you know, it excites me in a way, Alex, that, you know, in future years that we could be getting the Phil Fodens of this world or bringing on the Phil Fodens of this world.
What do you mean in terms of producing them academy-wise? Or
yeah, both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the owners have shown great intent and purpose. You know, with the ladies' team, with infrastructure, the training grounds already been changed. You know, they've not been here. They've not even been a year yet, and the training grounds are the complete renovation. There's plans left, right, and centre for everything. So
yeah,
it would not surprise me if there is a huge academy revamp as well, and a lot of a boost into that. Obviously, we're getting FFP changes in relation to you can't write off expenses for academy and youth facilities anymore. But I think they will still do that because it saves money at the end of the day. If you can train up a £60 million player through your academy, granted it will cost a few million based on, you know, the infrastructure and what that player's used throughout his sort of, you know, childhood and being trained up. But if we can produce a few of these, I mean, look at what Chelsea and City have done in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of these lads with Gallagher and Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount, you know, they could sell some of them or whatever. They'll get a reasonably good price for them, and they haven't had to go out and buy them. They've just sorted it out through their academy structure. Yeah, they've Loftus-Cheek playing as well. Like, yeah, we need to get to that point.
We've had a super chat, another $8.99 from Daniel Craig. Thank you very much, Daniel. There's no comment there, but thank you very much for your donation, matey. Dan says this is a transfer show. Do you think Martin Dubravka will stay or go?
Interesting.
I really don't know. I don't know what to think of it. I mean, you know, we know
we're not going to start four. We're not going to submit 4 keepers. There's no way in the 25-man
Eddie Howe won't do that though.
No, so at least one of them's not going to be registered. So something's got to move. We've got 10 days left the window. One of them's going somewhere.
But there's not a lot of talk about. Well, I know there's very little about Dubravka going, but there's very, very little certainly about Darlow. That seems to be very much on the hush hush at the minute. So I don't see. If a keeper does go, then I would think it will be Dubravka, Billy.
Yeah, because he's not a second keeper. He's good enough to be a starter at most places in the league or abroad. Whereas Carl Darlow is either a Championship starter or is a bench player for a Premiership side. So I think Darlow would be the one we'd keep, and we'd get more money for Dubravka, obviously. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think Dubravka would be pushing for a move more than Darlow. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Simon says the Lady Mags won 4-1 yesterday in their opening game. Yes, they did. Absolutely fantastic victory for the ladies. So well done to them. Christmas 365 says, I don't know if Man United or Liverpool at the moment could hang on with us for a full 90. Well, yeah. I mean, look, Man United, for me, still aren't anywhere near there. Liverpool just, I don't know what's happened to them at the start of this season. But hey-ho, to be honest, I don't really care. Francisco says, if you were given the choice for 100% signing, who would you take? Well, the thing is, we're not going to have a choice, are we? So, you know, we have to. We've already said numerous times that, you know, if it's Maddison or Dubravka, freaking hell, or Paqueta, we're not
Do you
going to
mean anybody with that question?
Yeah,
I mean, if it's anybody, I'd take to be like Vinicius Junior or something like that, but I don't think we're allowed that. So
no, that guy simply has a V8 engine in his arse, I'm sure of it, and just lets it go when he's sprinting down the left wing. David says we will get more for Dubravka than we paid for Pope, which would be good business. How much do you think we'd get for Dubravka? I'd say probably about 15.
Depends what he's got in his contract, isn't it?
No, I think we'd get between 5 and 10. I don't think we'd get 15.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think we get 15.
If he's got 2 years on his contract, he's 33. I think you're looking at 7-8 million quid.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Somewhere in the middle of 5 and 10.
Well, that's why I don't work in football business.
I mean, there's no reason, is there? Like, there's no.
There's not. Wacky says the Foxes will probably reject Toon's £50 million bid for Maddison. He's apparently negotiating a new contract. Yes, but stress the word apparently. Gary says Romano saying Pedro deal has been agreed. Is it true, guys? Not until the club announced it for me. The way Pope commands his area is chalk and cheese from Dubravka. Yeah, he's superb. And I think it gives the defenders in front of him a lot more confidence than what Dubravka does. I really do. But then when you've got Botman and Cher in front of you, it does calm you down a lot. Terraces, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you very much, buddy. Right, the next player on the list is Jack Harrison again.
Yeah, we've come back around to Jack Harrison.
Who scored, by the way, for Leeds against Chelsea yesterday.
He was fantastic.
Well, funny you should say that. I've got him up. You can show the start of this season. So 3 matches, assist versus Wolves, assist versus Southampton, goal and assist versus Chelsea. So he's got 4 goal contributions in these first 3 matches, nothing under a 7.5. So he started the season absolutely on fire, which maybe that's why they were holding out for a higher fee than we all thought. I think it was 35 they were holding out for.
Yeah.
Purely because he doesn't seem to match up statistically. He did grow into the back end of last season. Sort of from January on, he had better performances. His goals came in clusters, though. He scored against Brentford, and then if you go back, there was a cluster here against some slightly easier teams. He scored against Watford, Southampton, and Wolves, and then had an abhorrent run down here. It was pretty poor. So slightly inconsistent, but still a lot of goals. Where are we going this way? So he was on. If we scroll down, so last season, 8 goals, 1 assist. I think his XG was a bit wonky, and in the previous one, 16 goal contributions.
Can you zoom it in a bit, Alex, please?
We can, yeah.
Just getting some requests.
So this was 2 seasons ago. So 16 goal contributions, and then last year was 9 with 8 goals, 1 assists. So he puts up reasonably good numbers. He's had a few years in the Prem. This is his 3rd season in the Premiership, and he's had a lot of minutes as well. 34 starts, and then 32 last year. So he's getting a lot of starts. And I'll scroll us back up. He is at peak age. He's about to turn 26, so he's a peak age winger. But he is an out-and-out winger. He's a left-footed left winger. So he would play. He would want to play where Maxi's playing as a traditional left winger and whip crosses in. He's got a very high cross stat, which we will look at as well. Only on 15k a week apparently, which is rather low. So that would be no problem in improving that for him. If we scroll down, this is a given. I think he would fit into our system quite nicely. People who play for Leeds, or at least in recent seasons, will be very capable of swapping to the sort of the Eddie Howe, press in the final third, be intelligent, be switched on. This is fine. Like, this is brilliant. This is exactly what we would want. Reasonably good at the sort of the carrying and passing. It's not elite, but it's good enough. It's a reasonably good contribution. And he scores more than all of our other wingers generally. Max is the only person that comes close to his contributions. I mean, Maxi got 1 more contribution than him last year, but he managed 16 the year before. So, and if we have a look at the complete scouting report, we can. I will zoom in as well. So we are looking for his. Where's his standard crossing? There it is. So 3.16 crosses per 90. So this kind of supports the theory that he is more of a traditional winger. Runs down the left wing, whips it in with his left foot the majority of the time with over 3 crosses per 90, which is good. It's in the 87th percentile. It's something we don't have as much Although Maxi did some great crosses yesterday against City, a lot of them were him cutting back in and using his right foot to deliver it. Miggy as well was having to cut in a lot. The only time we typically get standard crosses are when they've come from a fullback overlapping, sort of Trippier or something. So I don't know how much truth there is in this. And matches as well. You've got Anthony Gordon and McNeil and stuff. I know people don't like Dwight McNeil, but he plays well. He's just not very good output at all. So I don't know how much truth there is in any of this, but it is very interesting. He is a cracking player. I don't know how we would use him though, because I think it's very evident we like Maxi and how likes Maxi, and he's very much involved in the plans. I don't know if we signed Harrison, what would happen with the wing structure if he'd put Maxi on the right, or if he'd try and play Harrison as an inverted on the right, because he's not going to drop Maxi or bench Harrison. Like I don't quite know exactly what the plan would be, but I think it's pretty concrete that the club were officially interested in Harrison. Like I think this is confirmed, so this isn't just fantasy. We were definitely interested in him.
Yep, absolutely.
And his name's floated back around. So we'll see what happens. It seems like obviously the Pedro one is at the forefront at the moment, but ideally the club wanted 2 more. I think Eddie Howe mentioned in an interview that I think he actually said the number 2, we would like a couple more in, I think is what he mentioned. So arguably, who's that second going to be? Maybe this guy, maybe not. But it's worth noting that Leeds don't want to let him go as well.
Well, yeah,
that is very important to say.
Yeah. 157 Ashes. I'm staggered we haven't tried to get Anthony from Ajax. Pure class, skillful, exciting, quick, and young. There's been a lot of interest in him, I think, from Manchester United mainly, but no solid bids from anybody, really.
Yeah, because have you seen the sort of money they want for him?
Yeah.
That's why. Priced out of a move. I mean, only Man United would be dumb enough to pay that sort of money.
Absolutely staggering. Geordie Howayman says, just a thought, if Diaby now wants to leave after a few games of the season, does that question his character?
No, because it's the Bundesliga and it's always going to be Bayern Munich, isn't it?
Well, he did say he wanted to stay at Leverkusen simply because he was in the Champions League, didn't he? And he wanted Champions League football, but suddenly he's seen how bad Leverkusen are at the minute. He's gone to pieces. He just doesn't want to be there. So
I think you've got to remember that. I feel like he earned that. Like he contributed to getting them into the Champions League because his output was phenomenal last season. So maybe he wants to benefit from the hard work he put in. I understand that. That makes a lot of sense.
Maybe we should utilize Wood like Andy Carroll in his first spell. He's not good enough. He couldn't.
Not good, Andy Carroll. Yeah, much better than
nowhere near. Absolutely nowhere near. Any more players, Alex?
I mean, I have got Pedro open. If you want to have a cheeky little look.
Well, why not? I mean,
satisfy people.
Yeah.
So we've still got his stats up. He is about to turn 21. So in like a week, just under a week, he'll be 21 years old. So he is 6 foot, just under 6 foot. Very, very
Can you zoom, mate? Can you zoom?
I can zoom, yeah. Let's go all the way in. There we go. So this is the bit that we like. So a lot of people have been arguing with me on Twitter over the last few days and arguing with other people about whether this guy's good enough or not. And it just comes down to the attributes. It comes down to the, fair enough, he's not scored enough goals. I say enough goals. He's not scored that many goals. His output for 15 starts was okay for a young lad. But it comes down to the fact he was in a very poor Watford side that was always going to go down. It was, it was a very one-dimensional team. And the key questions are, can he step up? Has he got the mentality, the physical attributes, the technical attributes to crack on, improve, and then get that output, rising? And I think he does. He shows it statistically, and his progressive passes is in the 91st percentile. His progressive carries is in the 86th. So, in terms of progressing the ball, whether it's through himself or passing it, is brilliant. Dribbles completed is in the 98th percent, which is phenomenal. You've got to remember, I understand he's in the Championship, but these are his logged minutes from last season as well. This includes his last 12 months, and this is against all the players in his position from the top 5 leagues in Europe, and this is versus forwards, which is what he is, and he can play across the front line. So this is extremely impressive for somebody playing in a relegated team. This is quite impressive. It's very impressive. Defensive contributions for a forward are staggeringly good with his precious tackles and interceptions. Well, just everything. Aerials one, we know he's competent in the air. We saw that when he beat the Cells and scored a goal against us. He is, if you wanted to go and build a player in a lab for Eddie Howe, you'd be like, right, we need a Wilson backup who's a versatile. Let's build an attacker who can be a backup to Wilson and play anywhere across the front 3. Let's make him Brazilian. Let's make him 21. Let's make him good at dribbling. Let's make him good at pressing. It's this kid. It's literally this kid. It's like he's ready-made for this. He's got all.
I agree.
And because he's not got the output, he didn't score the output. It's a risk, and other teams aren't necessarily going for it. But it's all there. And it's reasonably priced. It's not something we've got to go and throw 60 to 70 million at. It's something we can throw 25 at, and there's no reason he can't be very good. He's got all the attributes. I've said this before. He might flop. It might not work, but we can only make decisions based on the information we've got and what we've seen so far, and it seems very positive. I would put my neck on the line and say he's probably going to be a very good player. I'd be surprised if he's not a very good player. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the fact that we've got in for him 3 times may well, alert us to the fact that these people at Newcastle United who are very trustworthy, and Dan Ashworth, etc., and Eddie himself, they wouldn't go in for him so many times if he wasn't, or they didn't think that this guy could be very important to us. Daniel Craig, thank you for another £4.49 super chat, my man. I'll put the comment on the screen. I think there may well be a spelling mistake here, but or what he's trying to say. But see for yourselves, guys. Daniel, I don't understand what you mean. You love the channel, yes, that is fantastic. So thank you very much. But the other thing, if you're that happy that you love this channel, thank you very much, my friend. Absolutely awesome.
We've done something to tug on his heartstrings, haven't we? Let's be honest.
Absolutely, Billy. Shut up. Foxy says Pedro has had 3 managers just last season. Unrealistic for anyone to expect him to have a top-level performance and stats. Pedro has the potential. He's been playing top level since 17 years old. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I missed that. I missed that. A great comment from Foxy. I didn't even
absolutely
that.
Spot on, Foxy. Because how is anybody supposed to get any kind of balance? When you've got so many bloody players. Oh God, the big screen's gone on to Casemiro, and the Man United fans are loving it.
Sycophantic pricks.
Yeah, absolutely. John says can't complain for the price. We paid 25 million for Chris Wood. Yeah. Julie J says he's shaken and not stirred. Oh God. Stu says, watch the vid on YouTube. Why Newcastle want Pedro? Like Alex said, the kid has got bags of skill, loads of potential. Hope we sign him. Well, it certainly looks like we're gonna be doing that. Julie says that the word should have been comment. I've found out how to comment. Love this channel. That makes a lot more sense. Thank you, Julie, for bringing a bit of normality back to that comment. But that is it. Any honourable mentions tonight?
Yellowed for a dive again.
Yep, there's a surprise. Let's have a look at this. Oh, he really is disgusting, him, isn't he? I mean, he's 2-0 up and he's still diving around.
Wanker.
I can't stand him. I absolutely cannot stand that bloody buck-toothed, plough-faced bastard. I cannot stand him. Absolute tosspot he is. Cheating git. Anyway, Peter says TalkSport have already confirmed we've signed him. Yeah, but the club haven't. This is the thing. The club. Let's just wait till the club announce it, and then we'll announce it officially, and we'll do our little bit on him and see what he's going to bring to the team. Seattle Geordie, thank you for your $5 again. He says, Daniel Craig, we don't want Billy to pull another hamstring. Absolutely not. V says, don't forget to come again, Daniel. Very funny. Very funny. Jim Booktooth Plowface bastard. Laughing emojis. Yeah, I don't like him if you haven't already known that, but there you go. Right, that is it for the transfer show tonight, guys. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Very, very exciting times for Newcastle United now, obviously. You know, coming to the window is slowly closing on us, and we're looking forward to next Thursday where we do our mammoth transfer show from the full day, starting at 10 a.m. It's going to be fantastic. Tiring, but fantastic to spend the day with all you guys and have a good laugh as well throughout the transfer window with guests coming on as well, discussing their feelings on it as well. So it should be a great day. But you know, there's games in between this. You know, we've got Tranmere on Wednesday, so don't forget to join me at 7:30 for that, for the watch along. And then me and Billy Bob at 10 p.m. for the review show. We won't keep you up too late with that one, though. We'll go over it and then do some player ratings and see who stood out and who's got a real chance of getting into the starting 11 or pushing the way through. Because at the end of the day, that's what they'll want. They'll want to prove a point. They'll want to prove something to Eddie Howe that they're good enough to be put in the starting 11. So we'll see what happens on that. And then, of course, Wolves away on Sunday. That will be commentary from myself again. But we'll bring the guys in at half-time and, of course, a review show on the Sunday night. So lots and lots and lots coming up on the Toon Review this week. We are going to be very, very busy and, of course, next week leading up to the transfer window. So thank you very much for your company tonight, guys. Thank you to Alex and Billy, as usual. Me and Billy Bob will be back at 8:30 tomorrow night with the Fan Forum. So get on early. The link will be in the comments 15 minutes before the show, as usual. So get yourselves on early if you want to be on straight away, and we'll have a chat about the game against City, the transfer window, and of course the Tranmere game coming up and the trip to Molineux on Sunday. Thank you to the mods again. Brilliant work from the mod squad. Thank you to everybody that's donated tonight. Absolutely incredible gestures again. We love you all. Thank you for everybody that's viewed and watched. It does mean a lot. Please do hit the like button if you've enjoyed the show, guys. It does help us move up the search results on YouTube. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see on this channel, like so many people have done again recently, please do hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload or we go live, because we do upload videos as well. It's not all live shows that we do, sort of daily news, or if anything breaks, we'll bring it to you on a video, etc. And hopefully there'll be one a YouTube short coming out shortly of Billy Bob Coleman's celebrations for the Man City game, which will be good. But I'm trusting Susan's skills for that, not myself. So there you go. But thank you very much, everybody. We will see you very soon tomorrow night at 8:30. Keep your eye open for any videos. But if there's any breaking news, obviously we'll bring it to you as well. So take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. Good evening, guys.
Away the lads and lasses.